So we're at HP. This is WebOS. Can you show the new tablet?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the HP Touch Pad.
Yeah.
It's of course running WebOS. It has a 9.7-inch screen. It's a beautiful display, and it's a really large canvas for WebOS to show off what it can do. Each application, as you know with WebOS, is represented by a card. Those cards, I simply tap on them, and I can easily move between open applications. Makes it very easy and natural to go from one application to the next, as well as pick up right where I left off.
Do you have a graphics hardware acceleration in the UI?
Absolutely. So let's fire up a game that was developed. This is Armageddon Squadron. This is taking advantage of the touchpad's horsepower. It's got 1.2 gigahertz dual core processor. It has a graphics acceleration engine. I see if I can fly this plane. No, not very well.
Okay.
But if I were better at flying, you could, here, maybe I'll come around here.
There's actually a dual core in there.
Absolutely.
This is a new Qualcomm dual core.
Absolutely, and there's loads of RAM, so you can really do some cool stuff. So I get down by the water, and you can see if
It's crazy graphic. It's showing the cameras.
Yeah, okay. It's very rich on just a fantastic gaming platform, as well as being good for email as well.
So you're targeting productivity. You want people to be able to do their full kind of productivity here, right?
Yeah, so it's great for, of course, we know this form factor is great for web and for multimedia and for doing gaming, but we've completely revamped our email application, and we think that the power of cards make it a great email application as well. Let me show you a couple examples. Let's say I'm reading an email and I reply to it. That reply is given its own card. Now, if I have if I have an email open that has a web link, I simply touch on the web link, and that also opens a new card. So think about the way you work. You have multiple emails open, you have multiple web pages open, you're constantly flipping back and forth between them. I might have 7 or 8 emails, 10 web pages, and I'm going back and forth between them as I work.
There's going to be no slowdowns.
WebOS is a full multitasking environment. It was designed for that. You saw we were running that game.
Yeah.
When that game was running, we still had all our applications open, and the game was performing like a champ.
Does that mean that the other tabs or the other, what you call them, cards are at sleep completely, not trying to take some RAM and processing? They're like really paused, right?
An application can be suspended in the background. It also can be active in the background. If you might have something like an instant messaging client that you want it to be active in the background because you don't want to miss messages, whereas something like a game, you want it to be paused because obviously when you flip back to your email, you don't want your game to keep going and you crash into the water. If you crash, let it be because you can't control it, not because you paused your app.
That's the app developer is going to be able to trigger that, or is it the OS taking care of that?
That's a good question. I don't know off the top of my head, but we can definitely get you connected with someone who does.
Okay.
So now we were talking about the cards and how powerful that is for email, and how easy it is to flip back and forth between writing an email, back over to a web page that I was referring to, back over to my inbox. Maybe a new email has come in on the thread, and I want to make sure I don't miss out on it. I can simply tap on that email, get the latest and greatest, then flip back to my card. Now, it's also a great organizational tool. Let's say I want to take this card and move it off to the side. Maybe I want to make sure I come back to it later on so I don't forget about it. I got interrupted by a phone call. I can do that. Okay, so cards make it really, really powerful. Okay, last thing I'll show you is what we call Touch to Share. This is probably the most powerful and innovative feature we've introduced with Touch to Share, and this is Pre 3, by the way. Pre 3 is also running the same WebOS operating system. I simply touch the two devices together, and you see the ripple go across the screen, and now that same web page that I was looking at on my touchpad is brought up on my Pre 3. And you can imagine scenarios where that comes in really handy. I might be on the couch looking up a recipe, and now I'm going to head out to go get the ingredients for that. I can simply touch the two devices together and take my Pre 3 with me, and I'm off and running.
You call it touch tone. Is it based kind of like RFID, something like that?
So it's our proprietary touch tone technology. It's on the back of the device, back of our phones, on the front and back of the touchpad. And the first generation was all about wireless charging, so you can still do that. You can wirelessly charge. There's docks for both Pre 3 as well as the touchpad. And in this latest incarnation of Touchtone, we've also added data connectivity to allow the devices to talk to each other, so they work better together.
And charging wireless, charging with a touch is as fast as connecting a cable?
It's just about as fast.
All right.
Yeah. So thanks so much. I really appreciate your interest in HP and our products. And this is Pre 3 and the touchpad.
How soon are they in Europe released?
So both these products are going to be available in summer, and we'll talk about geographies as we get closer to launch.
All right.
Okay.